Dead as a doornail, Stadia is eulogized.
Oh my God.
On September 29th, one Phil Harrison, the vice president and general manager of Stadia, took to the Google, it's called the keyword. It's like their, blog spot.
How edgy, the keyword.
How edgy, the keyword. What is this? Is this some Arasaka corpo? There's the word. I was going to call him like a suit and tie, but that feels like something else. What I'm trying to say is there's this blog post where they basically said, Stadia is dead. We thank you for your support all of these years. Stadia will be closing its services January 18th. If you are looking for a refund on either hardware or software, we will give it to you. That should be rolling out and completing by mid-January 2023. Thank you for your time. That piece of news, Justin, that snapshot, how does that take you? Does that surprise you at all that Stadia is shutting down?
No, I think it's like one of those things that it's before like going into Stadia specifically, I was a slow convert to putting my shit on Google, like just everything on Google, because I'm always the kind of person, and I've worked with enough education technology for a long enough time to be like, eventually there's going to be a new website where we're going to have to put all of our stuff online, and then eventually Google like took over, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Google knows everything about me. I'm just going to give them all my photos and information too. Whatever. That's fine. Well, I'm double password protected internet, so don't steal my stuff.
Look at you.
So when Google is like, hey, we're going to come out with a video game system and you can buy all of our games, like stream them right to whatever device you're doing. Even though I was like a little bit like, well, Google is the company to do that. I kept thinking Google will cut this when it stops making money. And this is an expensive thing for them to do, and I don't want to have to like put all my video game stuff into a service that'll be gone one day. And sure enough, here we are to a place where it's gone. And this is like one of those things that's kind of the digital ownership, because you don't own these games anymore. You can't own these games anymore.
Right.
They're gone. The system is gone. The service is gone. There is no way to even like do. I'm sure there's probably some way, but everything is going to be deleted, gone, and then your character stuff is never there anymore. So I think this is like the worry in action of what could happen with digital games in the future if they just decide one day, oh, PS Store is gone. You can't play it anymore. Remember that PT thing? Can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's worrisome, but out of all the companies, I don't think Microsoft or even Sony or anyone would pay what you spent back. Like, that's pretty cool.
The biggest surprise to this for me was that they were like, and we are refunding you on both hardware and software.
Yeah.
They're not refunding you on if you had like like Stadia Pro or whatever it was, where like you got games for free and whatnot. Which I think makes sense because you like used that service, like you paid for that service and you used it to completion. Versus like I am very surprised that they are giving any refunds at all, whether that is hardware or software. Because I agree. I don't think that Microsoft or Sony, or obviously not Nintendo, would ever.
Nintendo is like, actually, we're going to charge you $60 to cancel this service, so give us some money.
I am shocked to hear that they are giving refunds because I just don't think any other company really would. But like, I don't know, this kind of puts like a decent taste in my mouth on this way out, being like, well, hey, this was sort of like a weird failed experiment, but so it goes.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I think it probably shows you how expensive this was too, because they crunched the numbers and they're like, it's a cost saving measure to cut this, and then they refund all the purchases people made on it. Like, that clearly is them just doing the counting. And they're like, if we keep this service going for another year or 2 years, it's going to be much better for us to just pay them now, take this lump sum, and stop worrying about this stuff. So I think, again, I think it's good that they're doing it. And you're right, perfect taste in your mouth, because we all knew Stadia wasn't going to survive. The 3 people who are upset about this are going to get their $1,200 back for all the games they bought on this. And I think things will mostly be fine.
I saw that some Stadia developers found out when this all broke, which I think Google could have done them a favor and said, hey, just so you know, this is ending. But yeah, I think that seems to happen pretty frequently. I remember when they said when Sony was going to be shutting down the Vita store, there was some Vita developer that was like, hey, didn't know about this. Would have been nice to have a heads up. So I'm curious exactly who they told about this. You did mention, though, like save data and stuff like that. And while I imagine not everything will be letting you transfer your save data, a handful of big companies who have had some pretty big Stadia pushes have come out and said, like, hey, we are going to be working on figuring out a way for you to potentially be able to bring your save over to like other PC save data. So Ubisoft came out and said that they're going to try and transfer it to Ubisoft Connect. Bungie, said that they have, quote, begun conversations about next steps for what to do about all that save data. And then IO Interactive, who makes Hitman, has come out and said that as well. They said in a tweet, "We hear you. We are looking for into ways for you to continue your Hitman experience on other platforms." So who knows? That might I don't know exactly how this would work. They might switch over to like something like Amazon Luna or something like that, but that also doesn't seem super long for this world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is just a logistical nightmare to think about some of this stuff. And I mean, it's already hard. Like a lot of these games that are talking have already like done a good job about transferring saves over and stuff. But let's use Hitman for example. Like it should be simple that if you own Hitman here, you got to here, and here, but it's not like that. Sometimes it's like if you own Hitman 1 on Steam, it wouldn't transfer over to here, but if you had 2 here, it would transfer over here. It's already like a flow chart. This is like Sony levels of complicated here, trying to think about how to like make all this stuff work and do that. I'm glad they're trying to do something with it. And like I think the companies like Ubisoft and like Bungie are equipped to do this stuff pretty well because of their kind of like their open and save your transfer through their own websites that they already do. Like I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on PS5 streaming, and I was able to get my save from my hard drive uploaded through Ubi Connect without having to like upload or transfer it anything other than the fact that it was just already on my Ubi Connect. And that was pretty easy to do. So I'm hoping that they are just thinking about how to do that, and they already have the aspects to do, or the resources to do that. But I'm glad they're trying. Like, that's the important thing. Even if they're just saying it, they're, the marketing here is that, hey, we hear you, we see you, this is a problem, and we're going to try to save your stuff.
Yeah. I got a question for you. What do you think could have saved Stadia? And that's the sort of question I feel like I should have prepared you for, but I just thought of it right now. What do you think they could have done to save it?
Have it tied to a physical streaming service. Like if this was like something like Game Pass, and you had like a physical streaming service, like a physical, like you could buy it or stream it if you want, like Game Pass is, because Game Pass is one of those situations where you can still buy the games, or you can just download them, and like you already have your Xbox, so you're already in that ecosystem anyway. And the fact that this was all streaming and not connected to one of the big consoles with big console exclusive, I think that was part of the reason why people didn't make that their home system. And I think part of the issue is when you have like people, like I played a lot of Destiny 2 on Stadia, but it's like I had to play it there over other places because that's where I had the free content at the time, or whatever the content I had. So I think it's partially the exclusives of people wouldn't like, they don't need to be in the Stadia ecosystem, and then they'd stay with because why would I, if I have Game Pass, why would I get Stadia Pro?
Right. There's no reason for it.
And if I, get Game Pass, I get all these cool exclusives and stuff like that. So I think that's part of it. And then I do think there was the hesitancy about it. Like, it's new. A lot of people deal with streaming games now, and I think a lot of people who use Stadia were surprised. I was surprised at how well it worked.
Yeah, me too. We did a whole episode about
it. So I think it's just a lot of like, it's a new market, and even if they are doing the right thing that eventually everyone's going to do, it's probably one of those situations where people, enough buyer hesitancy on it, plus the lack of people making it their home console.
I think that some of the marketing that they could have done was like, you can't get a PS5, can't get an Xbox Series X. Stadia will get you there. Weirdly enough, we were talking about Cyberpunk just now. If you remember, Stadia was, when Cyberpunk launched, the best place to play it.
Yep.
Like bar none, because you didn't need a PC. You if you had the hardware, like, do it, but like, it works, and it was like a great place to play that because you're just streaming it from a very powerful machine, right? So yeah, I think something like that could have maybe helped. Again, I don't know if we are like. It's very easy for us to sit here and be like, here's how you should have saved your company, Google. But
it's not really easy for me to sit here. My knees are acting up, and then my hip is still kind of like popped in. So it's really not that easy to sit here. So don't assume. I'm
trying to break in some Doc Marten boots. So my life has been just living nightmare. I'm not wearing them right now. We're podcasting. I need to be comfortable.